All right, today is Earth Day, observed on the 22nd of April each year. This day highlights the importance of protecting the environment. Take a look at this report to know more.
Climate change is real and the time to act is now. Why, you ask? Well, because there is no planet B. Earth Day is a reminder of how gifted the blue planet is. It is also a call to action towards a healthier planet and a brighter future. The day inspires change and raises awareness about the importance of conservation practices. The theme for this year's Earth Day is Planet versus Plastic. Choking our oceans, plastic waste makes up 80% of all marine pollution. Over 10 million metric tons of plastic end up in the oceans each year. EarthDay.org has urged a 60% reduction in plastic production by the year 2040. The plan includes phasing out of single-use plastic by 2030. It also eyes provisions, innovations and materials that can help build a plastic-free world. A huge focus is pegged around fast fashion. Fast fashion brands are producing twice the amount of clothes today than in the year 2000. While that sounds exciting, believe it or not, 92 million tons of textile waste is produced every year. And if the trend continues, fast fashion waste can soar up to 134 million tons a year by the end of the decade. And the horror does not end here. The apparel industry's global emissions are expected to increase by 50% by 2030 if the world continues to turn away from addressing the problem in hand. Earth Day also prompts us to see ourselves as one with the environment. The origin of the day can be traced back to 1970. The idea followed a massive oil spill in Santa Barbara and California in 1969. When disturbed by the environmental impact of the disaster, Gaylord Nelson, a US senator, and Dennis Hayes, a Harvard student, decided it was high time to start a conversation. Together, they aspired to spark the idea of conservation amongst a larger public. The initiative echoed a roar when over 20 million people across the US took part in protests against environmental pollution. Cut to the year 1990, Earth Day broke through national boundaries and got recognized as a global event.
Now, for more on this, we have with us Chandra Bhushan, who is one of India's foremost public policy experts and the founder of and CEO of International Forum for Environment, Sustainability and Technology. Thank you so much for joining us on WION, sir.
Thank you, Hem.
Sir, I want to begin by asking you, the theme for this year's Earth Day is Planet versus Plastics. What are your views on this and how relevant would you say this is to the current situation?
Well, it's an extremely relevant topic right now because the world is also negotiating a plastic convention. As you know, the United Nations Environment Programme is bringing all the countries together to get a global deal on plastic. How do we reduce plastic pollution? How do we reduce plastic production and consumption? Today plastic is omnipresent. We have it in our blood. In fact, microplastic is now a major health issue. Plastic is a major health issue for marine ecosystem. Marine pollution is increasing because of plastics. We find plastic in our rivers. In fact, one of the studies that I did almost a decade back was to look at microplastics in Ganga, our main river. And we found significant amount of microplastic in Ganga waters at that point of time. So it's an extremely important issue for environment as well as for health.
Right, sir, you've made some very important points there. Now, that being said, it may take years, and as per some estimates, at least 50 years or so to solve the issue of plastics and how, like you said, they're omnipresent at the moment. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we need to make a start. You know, in India, we have banned single-use plastic about 18 or 19 categories of single-use plastic we have banned. Obviously, there are implementation challenges, but we have made that start. We have made a start on putting some sort of responsibility on producers of plastic packaging. We call it as extended producers responsibility or EPR framework. So a start has been made. Now, many countries of the world have not made that start. For example, the plastic regulation in the US itself, where the Earth Day started, is one of the worst, one of the poorest in the world. US, frankly, hasn't got a major program to curtail plastic use or to reduce plastic pollution. Similar is the case with China. And therefore, if you really want to address plastic pollution issue, obviously domestic national agenda is important, but so is a global agenda. And I believe that if the world works together, we should be able to phase out single-use plastic by 2030 and reduce plastic production by 60-70% by 2040, and find out alternatives. Find alternatives which can replace plastic, because we are using plastic precisely because it is cheap and convenient. It's a use and throw. So one on packaging and as well as on textiles.
All right. Actually, sir, thank you for mentioning that, because that's what I was going to come to next. What are some of the policy shifts and sustainable changes on an individual level that you would recommend?
I mean to say the fast fashion started because of us as individuals. We want cheap clothing, which is use and throw clothing. Most of these clothes are made from polymers. They have large plastic content in them. I don't think many people know about it. They believe that these fabrics are natural fabrics. They aren't. They are artificial fabric. And as I said, they are made from petrochemicals. And then once you use it and throw it, they end up in landfill, or we need to burn them. So fast fashion itself is a major issue. Plastic packaging is another issue. There is some work happening on plastic packaging. As I said, in terms of ban on single-use plastic, or for that matter, having extended producer responsibility. Not much is happening on fast fashion. Now, fast fashion is actually individual responsibility. Can we do with good 5 t-shirts instead of bad 50 t-shirts?
Right.
That's an individual choice that we all need to make. And I believe that as a responsible citizen, we need to reduce the influence of fast fashion on our lives.
All right. Well, Mr. Chandrabhushan, thank you so much for joining us on WION's Climate Tracker with your insights on this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.